Meeting of the City Council to order. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Carr.
Here.
Councilmember Panduro.
Here.
Councilmember Tonneson.
Here.
Councilmember Vaccaro.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bertani.
Here.
And Mayor Moy.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Our invocation tonight will be presented by Pastor Patrick Cerna from Highway International Christian Fellowship.
I just met a friend over here who does sign language. I thought that would be really, really special. I should have thought ahead. I was asked to do this. I've done it a few times, and I just want to mention to you that I take it very seriously. When we say the word invocare, which is, it's Italian when I say it like that, but it actually comes from Latin. It means to call into the presence. When we invoke something, even when we invoke a law, invoke something like that, we're calling that into manifestation. So when we say, we call upon you tonight, God, the one true God, in your presence, we expect, because you say, you promise, where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am. And not meaning that this council, everybody has to be in the same place spiritually or anything like that, but when we use that name, when we use the name of Jesus, and we use the name of the biblical names of God, he's here. And I tell my congregation often, we say we come together in his name. He's here. He promises to inhabit his people. And I was talking to Sister Kelly, thank you so much for the invitation, about something that's really burdening me, which I can't really address tonight. But it's something that we can take to the Lord in prayer. And anyway, so short, that's long enough. I got to see if I got a book full of stuff here. I think this has got to be it. I know it by heart anyway. The book of Chronicles, it's not First Chronicles, but Second Chronicles. Chronicles just means testimony. Something's been written down. Somebody's chronicling something of how things are going on. And the people of Israel were not doing exactly what God had wanted them to be doing as he was leading. And so this word came to his prophet. And it says this: if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, and then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and heal their land. This is long before Jesus, but remember, it isn't really before Jesus, because Jesus is eternal God. He was already there. He was probably helped write in the script or whatever. But it's important that if we call upon the name of God, we call upon his name, Yeshua HaMashiach, the word, Jehovah, however you want to call it. It's a powerful thing. He answers. He says, I will hear. I will answer. And so I ask us tonight, whatever we consider that we have grace with each other, the issues are so important tonight. I'm sure that you guys are going to be discussing. But understand that he's listening. He's here with us tonight. He wants to help. But we have to listen. We have to be tender with each other, listen to each other's point of view, and just let's get some things done. So thank you for the opportunity. God bless you all.
Thank you, Pastor. And now we're going to go to council reports, and I will start with, did I forget? Oh, I sure did. You know what? And it was going to be special. Would you lead us in the pledge tonight, Mr. City Manager? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, colleagues, for keeping me straight. Somebody has to. Councilwoman Williams, could we start with you?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone. Two things. 2 weeks ago, a few of us went to the Hope Resource Fair at Bay North Church of Christ, Pastor Sam Morris. That was a phenomenal event. There was 44 vendors that were there to serve the community, not only those that are impacted with homelessness, but low income, near houselessness. For me, the most powerful thing being there was the 44 vendors and really seeing. To me, it was almost a mobile it was almost like a mobile hub, a mobile navigation center. In my mind, that's what it was. So it was the first time that in Vallejo I've seen it. It was the first time for me personally. In Fairfield, I saw all of our spokes to this hub. It was quite a few of us there. When I was there, I bumped into Councilmember Vaccaro, Rick Vaccaro, Scott Tonneson ran, and I believe as we were leaving, I believe Doris Pandora was coming in, and maybe some of you all stepped into. But anyway, I thought that was quite a phenomenal event. Also, I think the most meaningful thing that I've done in a while was our last meeting. That was last Wednesday. It was a study session, one of our budget study sessions. Some of you all may know that we're going into a structural budget deficit, but to see all of the departments, department heads, members of the city that really dug in and trimmed, the fat in their departments, and really, cut deep, was really, really meaningful. And one of the last pieces of that is we formed what are we calling it, Mayor? A housing provider ad hoc committee?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So I thought that was pretty meaningful for us as a county to kind of take control and say, look, let's have an ad hoc committee to look at a process and make sure it's a process that we're proud of. And I'm proud to be on that with you, Mayor, and you, Councilmember Carr. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Tonneson, please.
Nothing for me tonight, Mayor.
You can go now, Rick. Councilman Vaccaro.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I welcome everybody. I see we have some distinguished guests over here to the right of me, some who I've worked with in the past. So welcome everybody else too, of course. Attending at Bay North Church, what you mentioned, Councilman Williams, was really a great event. I know we've talked about, how we're going to tackle the homelessness problem in our city, and actually tomorrow, most of us are going to League of Cities for a couple of days, and Alma Hernandez, the mayor of Sassoon, and Mitch Mashburn, supervisor, they're going to be putting on a session regarding homelessness and what we're doing as a 2x2 committee that myself and Councilwoman Pandoro sit on, representing Fairfield, and this has been about 2-3 years in the making, I guess, so it's going to be interesting to see how our colleagues across the state take it, because we are the only county in California that's doing this right now, where the cities and the county are partnering to tackle on this huge problem. So I'm looking forward to it, and that's my report for the night. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Panduro.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Last weekend, we had an Adopt a Street cleanup of North Texas. So as I've shared before, myself and Fairfield PD have adopted both ends of North Texas. And so we've come together to do our second cleanup. And so I just wanted to say thank you to Fairfield PD, Fairfield to the PD staff that was there and their families. I know we had some school district people there as well, and then just community members that were in attendance. And the cool thing about it was that we all finished faster than in the past, and I think it was because the work we've been doing, it's been showing. Like, we're not picking up as much trash. There's less of it because we have been going out there, and so it was really great to see that we were. And Councilmember Tonneson was out there as well, and so it was really great to see that our bags were full, but there wasn't as many. So it is making a difference, and so we're really happy about that. And we have a next one coming up, so I'll be sharing those dates as we come closer. And then second, I just wanted to bring awareness. So April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. And so on Thursday the 18th at 9 o'clock, right here in front of the police department, as well, Casa Solano and the Child Abuse Prevention Council, we're going to be coming together for, it's called Pinwheels for Prevention. So we'll be having some speakers. My current boss, Candy Pierce of Casa Solano County, myself, The Chief Marshal and Krishna Abrams, the DA, are all going to be sharing a few words. And then we're going to be placing pinwheels on the lawn, which will be presenting the number of children with substantiated allegations of abuse and or neglect in Solano County last year. So again, it is Thursday, the 18th at 9 o'clock in front of the police department. And colleagues, I will be going and then coming back for the conference, so just so you know. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Madam Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. It is always a better meeting when we have people in here in the chambers with us. Things work a lot better with you here, so thank you for being here. I am looking forward to going to the League of California Cities meetings tomorrow and the next couple of days as well. And I just wanted to just reiterate what Councilman Vaccaro said, that on the panel for homelessness and the presentation tomorrow before all of the cities in the state of California, this city is the only city that has the kind of city-county partnership and our 2x2 committee and all the work that you're doing and we're doing as a council. And that's just to say we've made it one of our city council priorities to put our money where our mouths are and to put in the work to get this problem under control. And I'm optimistically saying to solve it. So I just wanted to just reiterate the importance of the work that this council is doing and with the county to deal with this problem. And we'll be reporting back to you. And Purple Star Award schools and recipients, welcome to City Council chambers. That's it, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilman Doug?
Thank you, Mayor. To reiterate what Councilmember Kay Patrice was saying, we did have a study session last week. It was good and bad. These study sessions are kind of hard sometimes, especially when it comes to financial difficulties that the city's facing, but I think we'll get through that. The other thing is, I just want to remind everybody on spending some of your good-earned money at the Brews and Barbecues downtown Fairfield come Saturday, okay? I hope to see everybody out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. And tonight I have a couple of things. First, I do want to say big thanks publicly to all of our staff because, and to my colleagues, this is gruesome work, cutting budgets. But I want to say that unlike other cities in the state itself, we're actually ahead of it. We have a really, really good savings account, and we're going to keep it that way. And we have really good direction. And it's very difficult, but that's what we came for. We didn't come here just for, all the perks and the big pay, right, guys? We came here to do this work, and our staff, they're the experts and the specialists, and it was amazing team effort, as painful as it is, and we are not going to be cutting services overall. We're not cutting any first responders, so that's a priority with us. And the other priority that you've heard us talk about over and over again is, of course, homelessness. And I really, really have to give a big old shout out to Samantha, who's our homeless services manager. She, for the first time, gave us what we need, and that is statistics and how much things are costing exactly for like each person that we get through homelessness and get them into a stable situation. It's really expensive, but it's the first time that we are able to see that, and I've been asking for it for a while, so I just a big old round of applause to her. We need to know What is our return on investment in so many words? We're putting this much money in. Is this working? Not so much. Let's try this. And led by our city manager and all staff, it was really, really good work by them, and I appreciate that extra go. I wanted to report on this week, Thursday, I sit on the Association of Bay Area Governments, and we're going to be voting on whether to put a $10 to $20 billion bond in front of the voters in November. And this is for housing and in the Bay Area. And right now, the poll doesn't look good on it. We got a report, it's about at 50%. I'm gonna guess that it doesn't make it. And I told them the real reasons are because we have a lot of economic suffering, especially in the Bay Area and in Solano County especially. You know, people are paying in Fairfield $900 to $1,100 more a month because of the inflation over the last 3 years. And so to ask for homeowners to put, you know, more on them and then for renters to get it from, you know, landlords, we're getting bad reports back on that. But so anyway, there's that. And then the last thing, I don't mean to be a downer here because it isn't. It's, we're doing great. I wanted to report, this is great. Let me go over here. Alrighty then. That Solano College, they went and they won some really big awards for their national championship tournament in debate, speech and debate. And I wanted to give a really big shout out. They had 40 schools and 250 students from across the nation. This was in Reno. And I just want to say the names of these students that did great. Victor Ramos, he got a gold for after dinner speaking. Tyler Sasabuchi got a silver in IPDA debate. Malika Amin Mirador and Tyler Sasabuchi, they got silver in parliamentary debate. I think we could use them to give us some, you know, some tips. And Victor Ramos again got a bronze for impromptu. Malika Amin Mirador got a bronze, and Shavon Odom got a bronze. And then their professor, Janine Whitesell, she won the Colley Taylor Fellowship Award for coaches. So, you know, we don't talk much about our college, and it is a great community asset. And also I had to bring it up because back when I was on this debate team, and I didn't ever get any awards, but I talked a lot. And so anyway, congratulations to them. And that's all I have, Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilman Carr. I was going to also mention the Blues Brews and Barbecue this Saturday from noon to 4. Come on out, please. And then other than that, I have nothing except for Go Kings.
You're fired. No.
I knew you were going to say that.
Mr. City Attorney.
I have nothing to report, thank you.
Okay, and Madam Clerk.
I don't have a report either. I just am looking forward to all the presentations, and I want to congratulate Chris Corey on her retirement.
All righty. Okay, so then Madam Clerk will go ahead and turn to presentations.
Okay. First presentation, proclamation and poem declaring National Poetry Month, presented by Poet Laureate, or Fairfield Poet Laureate Suzanne Bruce. And she's going to have a Solano College student, Nicole Young. She's going to be doing American Sign Language to the poem that Suzanne wrote. And then Doris Panduro will follow and present the proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Moy, council members, audience. During my laureateship, I've had my poems read in Spanish. Thank you, Councilwoman Pandora, for those. Tagalog, Japanese, and Hebrew. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to Nicole Young. She's an early college high school program student, which is in conjunction with the Solano Community College. She will be graduating in May, and she is studying American Sign Language. She wants to do that in her higher education after graduation. She's still studying ASL, so she's not certified, but she's excited to be here to sign for us tonight, and I'm excited for her to be signing to my poem tonight. I wanted this presentation to point out that poems are not just heard with your ears. They can be seen through the eyes through various ways and always felt in the heart. Since this is National Poetry Month, my poem tonight is Observations Through Poetry. I'm going to start with an epitaph from Octavio Paz. He is a poet who was born in Mexico, but his family lived very financially stressed due to the Mexican Civil War. He had a grandfather who did a collection of books, and that's how he learned, and he educated himself and eventually became a Nobel Prize in Literature in 1999. So are you ready? Okay. Observations through poetry. To read a poem is to hear it with our eyes. To hear it is to see it with our ears. Octavio Paz. Poetry, the giver of visions, where colors can be heard, sounds felt, the full view of the world seen through words. Sounds gracefully fall like red and yellow leaves. Brisk air weaves through bare limbs. Hear the rustle of meanings. Feel soft breezes touch each syllable. Listen to the movement of each line. Unmask the voice so the melody can be seen. Watch the sun rise into a blushed sky. Time awakens as morning commences. In evening, deep orange glows. Feel emotions roll like ocean waves. Embrace energetic verse. Imagine vivid scenes. Smell oaky smoke rising from firewood. See it crackle as sparks dance. Hot coffee soothes a chilly soul. Eyes open to hear silenced tongues speak. Taste sweet significance of listening. Poetry brings curiosity to the senses, radiates the heart. The full view of the world seen through words. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. National Poetry Month. Whereas in 1996, the Academy of American Poets established the month of April as National Poetry Month. And whereas National Poetry Month seeks to highlight the extraordinary legacy and ongoing achievement of American poets, introduce Americans to the pleasures and benefits of reading poetry, bringing poets and poetry to the public in immediate and innovative ways, and make poetry a part of our children's education. And whereas the leadership and direction of the Academy of American Poets, National Poetry Month is now the largest literary celebration in the world. And whereas National Poetry Month provides an opportunity to celebrate the expressiveness, delight, and pure charm of poetry. It is a special occasion that reminds us of the integral role of poets and poetry in our cultures. Poetry helps us appreciate the world around us and empathize with one another. And whereas poetry is an essential part of the arts and humanities and affects every aspect of life in America today, including education, the economy, community pride, and development. And whereas poetry has produced some of the nation's leading creative artists and has inspired other artists in fields such as music, theater, film, dance, and the visual arts. Now, therefore, I, Catherine Katmoy, Mayor of the City of Fairfield, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as the National Poetry Month in the City of Fairfield. I call upon public officials, educators, librarians, and citizens of Fairfield to celebrate the cultural richness our community has to offer and to recognize the important role poetry plays in our lives. And with that, I would like to present this proclamation to our Poet Laureate, and thank you so much for all you have done for us and our community with regards to poetry.
Can I say a couple of things? Okay, of course. Okay. You know, you never give a poet a mic, you never get rid of her. Sometimes people ask why poetry is important, and for one thing, as the proclamation talks about, it elicits emotions and it helps you to see another view. By having words rise off the page and into our lives, it can encourage a fresh understanding, and it can also be very healing. Sometimes when you can't find the words yourself, somebody else can say them for you, and often in poetic verse, and it helps you to heal that way. I would just say, in the defense of poetry in 1821, Percy Shelley said, "Poets are the unacknowledged legislatures of the world." So, poets for president.
Very good.
Just saying.
Yay.
And our next presentation, proclamation declaring Autism Awareness Month, presented by Councilmember Scott Tonneson to Executive Director of Special Care Services, Debbie Davis, and Hannah Davis.
Come on up, ladies. Autism Awareness Month, April 2024. Whereas autism is a complex developmental disability that typically is diagnosed during the first 3 years of life, impacting development in areas of behavior, self-health, learning, social interaction, and communication. Whereas the incidence of autism in the United States is now reported in 1 in 36 and is diagnosed in approximately 1 in 22 children in California in 1923. Autism spectrum disorders are 4 times more likely in boys than girls and is the fastest growing serious disability in the United States. And whereas local and regional resources providers, including North Bay Regional Center, Parents Empowering Parents Support Groups, Special Care Services, and Solano County SELPA, provide outreach and intervention services in Fairfield and Solano County. Whereas the goal of Autism Awareness Month is to spotlight the rising prevalence of autism, foster understanding and inclusion, generate interest, support continued training, education, and research to identify the cause and the cure of this complex disability. Therefore, I, Catherine Cat Moy, Mayor of Fairfield, do hereby proclaim April 2024 to be Autism Awareness Month in the city of Fairfield.
Thank you, Councilman Tonneson. Good evening, Mayor and council members. It's good to see you. I'm Debbie Davis from Special Care Services, and this is Hannah Davis, my daughter, who's actually my boss. So she's here tonight with us, and Hannah runs a lot of the programs that we have for kids with autism and developmental disabilities in the city of Fairfield, which the one that I want to talk about a little bit is Camp Chaos, now called Club Chaos, because it's not really a camp, but it is a day camp kind of situation in Fairfield at Allen Witt Aquatic Center that we've been doing in partnership with the city since 2017. Thank you to Christina and her amazing Parks and Rec staff who have just embraced this opportunity to give kids and adults with developmental disabilities a chance to have that summer camp experience that they otherwise never would. We provide one-on-one staff for the kids, and it's funded through North Bay Regional Center for kids that qualify. So there's camps in July and August this year. We handed out a flyer for the council members. We are looking for volunteers because in the Fairfield group, at 20 spots sold out in less than an hour, and now there's 25 more kids on the wait list. So we are trying to get enough staff and volunteers so that we don't have to turn any of these kids away this year, because it's just a great event for them. So April is Autism Awareness Month, but it's more than awareness. We really have to look at acceptance and actually embracing the differences that people have. All of us are somewhere on the spectrum, and I truly believe that. Autism and developmental disabilities is a spectrum. So anyone that has a little quirk or a little twitch or fidgets, this is what we're talking about. And to really acknowledge and embrace the differences in kids and adults is important in our community by providing education opportunities, also employment, recreation. So we really wanted to come here tonight to thank Fairfield for your partnership in everything you're doing to help promote autism awareness and acceptance. Thank you.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
And our next presentation, proclamation declaring Superintendent Chris Corey Day, presented by Councilmember Vaccaro.
Yeah, come on up, Chris. How you doing? Okay, before I read the proclamation, I won't take too long, but because I could be here all night talking about Chris and what she's done for our school district. It's been, we never actually worked together. Our paths always crossed, but we've known each other for years. Chris has the same passion for underserved kids like I do, and we've talked about it. It's so important to me, to her, to all the people out there in the audience from Fairfield, Sassoon, I know. And with your leadership over the years, I've watched this district grow, and grow in the right way, not the wrong way. Some districts do grow in the wrong way, but I know that Fairfield is not one of those districts. I'm proud that my kids went through the district. Now I have my grandchildren in the district, so I'm a proud grandfather there. And it's an honor for me to read this for you tonight. So let me get on with it, and then I'll let you say a few words. Okay. So, Chris Corey Day, April 16th, 2024. Whereas Chris Corey was recruited by the Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District from South Dakota to teach in Fairfield in 1986, where she began her notable career teaching at Tolinas and then Sassoon Elementary Schools. And whereas Chris Corey later worked as an administrator at B. Gale Wilson, H. Glenn Richardson, and at Foxborough at Travis Unified School District, becoming the Director of Elementary Education for Fairfield Sassoon Unified District in 2006, and then Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services in 2010, and becoming the Superintendent in 2013 to today, the present. Whereas under her leadership, Oakbrook Academy of the Arts and Nelda Mundy Elementary received California Distinguished School Awards in 2014. And whereas under her guidance in 2016 and 17, California Gold Ribbon Awards were issued to the following schools: Cordelia Hills Elementary, Sassoon Valley K-8, David A. Ware, Public Safety Academy, Armio High School, go Armio, all right, and Green Valley Middle. And whereas, again, under Ms. Corey's leadership, the following schools received Golden Bell Awards: Fairfield Sassoon Adult School, Kindergarten Readiness Roundup in 2014, Sassoon Valley K-8 Agri-Science Program in 2016, Inspire, a workforce development program in 2018, Oakbrook Academy of Arts Integration Program in 2020, Mary Bird Early Childhood Education Center in 2023. And whereas Superintendent Corey assisted in the successful passage of the 2016 Measure J bond and the 2022 Measure S bond. And whereas Superintendent Corey was an outstanding leader during the crisis of fires, floods, and the COVID-19 pandemic, and served 11 years with 0 district audit findings. That's pretty remarkable. Whereas Ms. Corey received the Superintendent of the Year Award from the Association of California School Administrators, the Solano Charter, for the school 2022-23, school year 2022-23, and U.S. Congressman John Garamendi named her as a Woman of the Year in 2023. Whereas Superintendent Corey will retire on June 30th, 2024, after 38 years of dedicated service to the district, the last 11 years as the superintendent. So now, therefore, I, Catherine Catmoy, Mayor of Fairfield, do hereby proclaim April 16th, 2024 as Chris Corey Day in the city of Fairfield, and ask citizens to celebrate Ms. Corey's countless accomplishments and wish her a well-deserved retirement.
Yeah.
Thank you. None of that I accomplished by myself, obviously. It took a team effort. Little known fact, maybe some of you recall, we were using your city chambers when I got appointed to come back to Fairfield Sassoon after being in Travis. And so I stood right here to be feeling so honored to come back home, because I always felt Fairfield Sassoon was where I grew up as an educator. I really wish I would have used ChatGPT and done a really fun poem tonight in honor of the poetry. But I just want to say that the thing that I will miss the most is the friendships and the relationships that I have built, and that we have done so much of this work together. We know that we couldn't have passed those 2 bonds without the support of this city council. Many of you went out and helped us with that and had signs and donated funds, and so we know it just helped our city and our community. There's been so many great things that we've accomplished together. I'm really excited. I met with our future superintendent, Jen Sachs, today for a few hours. She is very committed to community, and I know that we will continue to do great things together with Fairfield Sassoon Unified in the city of Fairfield. Thank you so much for this honor.
Down here so we can get a picture. Yeah, Fairfield, so why don't you guys come down and take a group picture? Yeah, come on.
I did want to mention that I almost brought a candle that I got from my previous board member, Chris Wilson, who is happily here tonight. Yes. And the candle was so great, and it smells like it's not my problem anymore.
Welcome, Chris.
I have to go a whole new lens. Okay, ready? And 1, 2, 3. And closer. Okay, 1. Focus. 1, 2. Eyes open. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
And our final presentation, proclamation declaring Purple Star Schools, presented by Vice Mayor Bertani.
Our school districts really rock, and you all are a serious testament to that. It is my honor and pleasure to read this resolution recognizing our Purple Star Award schools. From the bottom of our hearts, from the city of Fairfield, thank you all for caring for our heroes at Travis Air Force Base and their families who serve us so well. Thank you for being careful with these students and cognizant of their needs and responsive in ways that really make a difference in these children's lives as they grow up. not only in Fairfield, but obviously all over the country. So just on behalf of the city of Fairfield, thank you very much. And here is the proclamation. Whereas the Purple Star Award for military-friendly schools recognizes public or charter schools that show a major commitment to supporting the unique educational and social emotional needs of students and families connected to our nation's military. And whereas military-connected students must move wherever their active duty parent or guardian receives a relocation order, which means that a child can expect to change schools between 6 and 9 times from grades K through 12. Whereas the military-connected students transition between schools, often to different states and countries, they must adapt to the varying cultures, school populations, curricula, standards, course offerings, schedules, and graduation requirements. And whereas the Purple Star program's true value derives from its potential to ease these burdens by centralizing and making knowledge accessible, developing stakeholder networks, and supporting schools in cultivating and communicating cultural competency in supporting military-connected families. Whereas in 2024, Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District has 5 schools that have attained the prestigious distinction. Laurel Creek Elementary School, Cordelia Hills Elementary, Sullivan Language Immersion Academy, Green Valley Middle School, and Angelo Rodriguez High School. Whereas also in 2024, the Travis Unified School District has 9 schools honored with a Purple Star Award. Cambridge Elementary School, Center Elementary School, Foxborough Elementary School, Golden West Middle School, Scandia Elementary School, Travis Education Center, Travis Elementary School, Travis Independent Study, and Vanden High School. Now therefore, Catherine Catmoy, Mayor of the City of Fairfield, hereby proclaims April 16th, 2024 in Fairfield, California as Purple Star Awards School Recognition Day, and the mayor asks our citizens to join us in congratulating these schools on achieving this incredible distinction. So all of those schools that I just named, congratulations. And now I'm going to have the distinguished Colonel Bynum come up from the Travis Air Force Base and say some words, and then I'll be handing out proclamations. Colonel?
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hey, so thanks for having me. This is amazing. I've seen so many familiar faces and everybody that cares so much about the military children that we have on the base. 14 schools being Purple Star schools. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Brigadier General Salmi. He is the loudest champion of anybody in, at least that wears one of these, right, in California, trying to get more schools to be recognized as Purple Star schools for the type of commitment that they have to our military children. And I know that he's continuing that work with all of the other California installations that'll be coming up here in the next couple weeks at the California Defense Council. And it's not lost on me that April is the month of the military child. And so we ask a ton of them. I was a military child. I had 9 schools that as I was coming up through before I hit college, and it's not uncommon for our kids to go through that. And so a recognition that they're a little bit different and their needs are going to be a little bit different is huge. So thank you for the opportunity to kind of speak to that. and for your commitment as recognized in being designated a Purple Star school. It really means a lot to us. It allows us to focus on the mission, knowing that all of you have our back with all of our families. So thank you.
Thank you. And now I'm going to ask a representative from one of each of the Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District Purple Star schools to come up for your proclamation. So Laurel Creek Elementary School, Sullivan Language Immersion Academy, Cordelia Hills Elementary School, Green Valley Middle School, Rodriguez High School. Hi, you're welcome. Okay, and now I'm going to ask a representative from the Travis Unified School District to accept this proclamation on behalf of the 9 schools from Travis Unified School District, and each one will be getting one of these. We just didn't think you wanted to carry 9 of these out of here today. Oh, you're from Rod. I'm sorry. That's okay. I'm sorry, my apologies. All right, here we go, our Travis Unified School District representative. All right, thank you very much, thank you. And I'm going to ask the Colonel to come join us for a photograph. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Tanya, are you coming up too? Come on up. You keep us all organized and everything, so come on up.
Let's go in the horse.
Let's go in the well, everyone. Sure, thank you.
Call it Photo Cove here.
Photo Cove, I like that. Yes, I saw that. I was like,
Oh, here's paparazzi here. Look at that. Okay. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. And there's a couple more photographers. We're good. All right.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Congratulations to everybody. And now, Madam Clerk, we're going to turn to public comments, please.
Okay. Persons wishing to address the City Council on subjects not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the council may do so at this time. The council cannot discuss or take action on matters not on the agenda for this meeting, but council members may briefly respond to statements made or questions raised by the public, ask for clarification from staff, refer the matter to staff, request staff to report back to the council at a subsequent meeting, or place the matter on a future agenda. To speak on an agenda item, if you're online, please use the raise your hand feature or press star 9 on your phone. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes per item. And our first speaker is Dana Williams.
Good evening, council members, mayor.
Good evening.
Let me get myself together here. So, my name is Dana Williams. You might remember me from the October 17th, 2023 City Council meeting, where numerous tenants came out to speak about the living conditions at Gateway Village Apartments. At that meeting, Madam Mayor, you promised us a lot. At 1 hour and 15 minutes and 56 seconds, you said, Latan, he's the person to talk to. He's with Housing Services, and they'll be on it. He's right there in the back. At 1 hour, 16 minutes and 19 seconds, you stated, we'll get this straightened up. Lucy, which was also with us, she spoke, and at 1 hour, 18 minutes and 16 seconds, you stated, "We got you. Latan's back there. Please talk to him, and he's going to handle it. He's a professional, and I'm sorry moving to Fairfield has been this uncomfortable because we love having you here. All of Fairfield is not like that." Lucy has since moved, and you're right. All of Fairfield is not like Gateway Village. Just a quick outline. October 17th, we came to the meeting. November 13th, code enforcement scheduled the first meeting with Latan and Housing Services. They said they would do engineering reports on the property. November 27th, a fictitious article was put in the Fairfield Weekly by Housing Services. A follow-up meeting was scheduled for December 13th, canceled by Tanya Tran, said Latan was out of town. Follow-up meeting 12/28 with Latan and Housing was canceled via email. Follow-up meeting 1/9/2024, canceled by Tanya Tran via phone, said Latan wasn't in the office. I've supplied you with the City of Fairfield code enforcement violations, which were appealed but upheld. The property is diminished farther than when it was when you last saw me. It looks abandoned. But there's another matter I'm here about tonight that's more urgent, is the gate. The gate is broke on both sides. It's been made aware to us that the property management is deciding that they're gonna tear it down. During the 80s and the 90s and some of the 2000s, Gateway Village Apartments was a drug and crime mecca of Fairfield. Crime rate was very high. Taking the gate down is gonna result in it once again being plagued with violence and drug traffic. You can compare the recent police reports since the gate has been broken for the last couple of months. Car break-ins, transient sleeping and using drugs in laundry rooms throughout the property, unwanted guests, parking and trespassing. It's put a lot of us at risk. The constant foot traffic, as well as mentally ill or transients being released from North Bay, leaves us vulnerable to crime, theft, and harm. 7-Eleven, constant traffic in the neighborhood funnels into the complex because there is no security gate. If the gate is removed, the City of Fairfield is allowing history to repeat itself. What level of city government is going to rectify this atrocity?
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, Latan, if you could come up and just, is there somebody else who's going to speak on this first? Yes. Two more, okay. Why don't we do that, and then,
Okay, Doriana Lacey is next, to be followed by Sandy.
Hello, I am Doriana Lacey. I live in Unit 128, and I also live at Gateway Village Apartments. I am a Section 8 client. I'm disabled, and I have 2 kids, and my in-home care provider also is going to be living with me. She's right about everything. The property does look abandoned. I'm scared to send my kids outside. My son attends David A. Weir across the street. It's a lot going on. Car accidents, recent deaths over at the 7-Eleven by the church. The property itself, it does look abandoned. She's not lying. We got snakes over there now because the maintenance have been abandoned for so long. My son came home from school Friday afternoon and he saw a snake about this big come out of one of the bushes. That's not safe. And if they do take that gate down, it's already babies running around there as it is unattended. So that's gonna cause for somebody to get hurt even more. It's a really serious situation, and it gets worse at night and in the summertime. So everything she said and more. And my unit, I have fell in the shower many of times, and the flooring in my living room is uneven. It's uneven. It's like the debris is coming up out the ground. And then my bathroom, when I first moved there like a year or two ago, they was trying to fix the sink and the toilet to find out what was going on. And when they lit the toilet and the tub up, weeds, like from trees, was coming up underneath the ground. And they have document of all that. And we have had so many managers in and out, back to back, back to back. The laundry room has been vandalized. My car has been hit, and we supposed to have cameras over there, but nobody seems to know nothing. My car has been hit. I can't even drive my car now because my side mirror is gone. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's not safe over there, and it's not a good thing because there's an elementary school right across the street. So everything that she said and more, I can go on and on, but it's pretty bad. I keep my kids in the house because I don't, want nothing bad to happen to them or myself. So, and my backyard, I have a backyard. I can't use the backyard. I can't use. Okay, sorry. I can't use the backyard because the spiders and everything all in the back. So I keep the bedroom patio closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Next is Sandy. Is it Sandy Ply? Thank you.
I'm here for the same reason as the other ladies. The gate, the entrance gate does work. They've got it chained and locked so that it doesn't close. And the problems in the parking lot and the laundry room, I live right across from the office. In the laundry room, there's, like Dana said, there's been lots of drug activity and people doing things in the laundry room. I went to go in one night and I had to leave right away because I couldn't deal with the smell in there. But, and the crimes in the city of Fairfield in 2022, it was, keeps coming back up. The homicides were 12, robberies 188, aggravated assaults 304, violent crimes 504, property crimes 2,934, and car thefts 538. In 23, homicide 11, robbery 179, aggravated assaults 339, violent crimes 589, property crimes 3,045, and vehicle theft 533. But in the year, but keep in mind that still 2 months and 2 weeks left in the year of 2023 in which the crimes were not yet reported to the police. Those numbers very well could have increased. With that being said, those gates located outside the Gateway Village Apartments complex on Pennsylvania Avenue, not only myself but the other tenants living within the complex, a small sense of security in our families living in this apartment, not just other individuals living with the city, but from the car collisions which take place on Pennsylvania Avenue as well as on Tabor Avenue. Our family's safety is my number one concern as a resident of Fairfield. Please take the safety of our families into consideration when deciding on removing these gates surrounding our complex. So that's a pretty big hike. It's still having 2.5 months left for the end of the year. So, but it has gotten really bad over there, especially over at 7-Eleven. I mean, I walk my dog twice a day and I don't even like doing that. But, so if you guys could please consider it, it'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public speakers?
Did anyone else wish to speak on public comment? And I do not have any hands raised online.
Okay, is Latan, oh, there you are, right in the front. Could you just, we don't want to get too much into it, it's not agendized, but if you could just say in general what we're doing here, and maybe we could reopen communication with residents to let them know as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Latan Jones, the Director of Housing Services. Yes, we have actually been meeting with the actual new property manager. They actually established a new property manager at that property around by December. Sterling came because the old property management firm had disbanded. That stated, we have been actually retrieving reports. As we had indicated, we did need to run engineering reports. So there need to be assessments done of the roofs. There need to be walkthroughs of all the units to be able to assess the integrity of each of the different units. We've also, with the Section 8 department, have done HQS inspections of all of the units that we have. We have 10 project-based Section 8 units there, as well as 5 VASH units there as well. And so we have now, the actual Sterling has presented us with information with regard to the inspections that have been completed at the property. They had a general contractor come and actually do an overall assessment of the property as well. And so right now, we're actually going through that information, reviewing that information, so that we can put together a plan in order to be able to address the issues. There are a number of issues there at the property, and the residents are exactly correct. And so we are actually now, like I said, we're putting together that information into a plan so that we can prepare a reposition plan for that particular property. There are tax credits, there are MHP financing, as well as City of Fairfield financing at that property. And so since that financing is highly regulatory, we have to make sure that we have a cohesive plan in order to be able to address the issue there.
So can we somehow open up our communication channels so they know exactly what's going on and when? That would be great if we could do that. And then also if we could have the police chief or somebody from the police speak with them about some of the issues with the crime and how to go about reporting it when and all of those things. If we could do that also while they're here, that'd be great. Yes, Madam Vice Mayor. Yeah, I'm good.
I'm going to ask, is there a way that we can expedite getting the security gates in place and engaged immediately?
I will definitely talk with the actual property management firm in order to be able to do that.
Okay, so if that could be expedited, that would be great, because for obvious reasons in that area.
Yeah, just a slight reminder, that this isn't a property that we own. This is not a city property. It's privately owned by Chalk. And at the council retreat in January, we brought up a few different options in terms of priority focus for housing services with the limited resources that they have available. Gateway was the determining project that the city council was interested in, and that's where, as Latan said, his team's been working with the new asset manager there, Sterling, to look at all of the challenges that are with the units, with the property. Ultimately, there's more debt on that property than potentially it's worth. And so that's where that kind of complicates restructuring the debt on that property, which is where the Housing Authority may come into play. We do hold a regulatory agreement on it. The former redevelopment agency was a party to the original, I think, acquisition and rehabilitation of the property back in the 80s, maybe 90s.
Yeah, well, 80s, yes.
And so, yes, we can get some additional communication out. And I know our police department folks are here, talk with them about some of the safety concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would, in 3 months, I would like to go ahead and agendize something just to get a report on where we are so we can gauge. And I know it's not a city property, but at least on the units that we have 10 units, you said?
Yes, we have 10 project-based voucher units at that particular property. And I believe we've done HQS inspections on the property, in all of those units there. And so we have 4 that have not passed at this point.
So we have a total of 15 units.
Who wants to speak on item 18?
2 have not passed inspection yet due to, I think, family health issues that the landlords have not been able to.
I see.
We're waiting for them to verify.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So we have actually, as I indicated, 10 project-based voucher units and 5 VASH units, which is a total of 15 units that are under regulatory agreements that we have with the city of Fairfield there. And so 2 of those units have not passed the actual housing quality standards assessment, but we have done assessments on all of those units. And then a couple of those units have not necessarily been completed because there were issues with regard to the family and health issues.
Are there people living inside those units right now?
We do right now, there, I think it's about 6 or 7 of them that are vacant at this point. Yes.
6 vacant, so we're waiting for what, there are 2 to pass, and then the others, we just don't have people yet?
Yeah, those others, what we do at that particular property is it will be a referral basis, and so they will refer residents that we will assess in order to be able to move in those units. But those are also opportunities that they can turn those units in order to try to make sure that all of the issues are addressed in those units.
And because it isn't a city property, where else can the residents go to get some relief for their issues?
It's not a city property.
Right.
However, if there are any issues with regard to like management, the residents can talk with either legal services or housing rights that will be able to assist them if there are any legal issues that they would have at that property. If there are issues with regard to rental assistance, we have connected with Benicia so that residents would be able to pay rent if there are issues with regard to that. And so what we have also been working with the management companies to try to actually reignite the actual community service entity at that particular site, because that is an entity that would be more engaging with the residents. There has been property management transitions at that site, and so that is an element that is really necessary in order to try to make sure that there's consistent engagement at the site.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant. Does anybody else?
Mayor Moy?
Yes.
Ms. Williams wondered if she could address you again, or the
No,
council?
you can talk to the individuals, but it's just our rules. If you've had your 3 minutes, I can talk to you later, though, and I'm happy to. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Very much, Lieutenant. Okay, so that's it for public comments, then, I guess?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Joint City Council and Housing Authority.
Yes. The holding of a joint meeting of the City Council and Housing Authority entitles the council members to receive additional compensation of $35 for attending this joint meeting, and I'll take roll call.
Thank you.
Commissioner Carr?
Here.
Commissioner Panduro?
Here.
Commissioner Tonneson?
Here.
Commissioner Vaccaro?
Here.
Commissioner Williams?
Here.
Vice Chair Bertoni?
Here.
And Chair Moy?
Here.
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and...
And then I'll read item 5.
Yes, please.
Public hearing and resolution HA 2024-02 of the Fairfield Housing Authority approving the Fairfield Housing Authority's Public Housing Agency Annual Plan for fiscal year 2024 through 2025. And our presenter is Tanya Tran, Housing Authority Manager.
Good evening, Chair and Housing Authority Commissioners. My name is Tanya Tran, and I'm the Housing Division Manager for the Housing Authority. The Fairfield Housing Authority opens a public hearing for consideration of the Public Housing Agency Annual Plan for fiscal year 2024-2025. This is a document that HUD requires the Housing Authority to complete each year as a condition of continued funding for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, previously known as Section 8. The PHA plan includes 2 parts: the 5-year plan, which each PHA submits to HUD once every 5th fiscal year. The second component is the annual plan, which is submitted to HUD every year and covers the policies and procedures of the agency. This evening, we are considering the second component, which is the annual plan. The PHA plan outlines information such as the number of housing choice vouchers that the Fairfield Housing Authority receives, if the PHA has made any changes to its elements such as rent determination, informal review and hearing procedures, operation and management policies, etc., and reporting the Housing Authority Section 8 Management Program Score, also known as CMAP, For fiscal year 2022-2023, Fairfield Housing Authority was deemed a standard performer, which is the first assessment since the pandemic in 2020, which is a pretty good score because it's pretty hard to get standard performer. The PHA plan also gives an update on the PHA's progress on its goals outlined in the 5-year plan and the PHA strategies to adhere to affirmatively furthering fair housing requirements. With over 800 vouchers authorized and HUD allocations of over $10 million in the rental subsidies, the HCV program is the City of Fairfield's single most impactful program to address and prevent homelessness. These vouchers provide eligible households with a monthly subsidy that is paid directly to the landlord to help provide stable housing conducive to self-sufficiency. Units assisted by these vouchers are determined primarily by the participant family, consistent with fair housing laws. This evening, staff seek approval of the PHA annual plan to meet HUD's requirements and continue providing critical rental assistance to extremely low and low-income households in Fairfield. I'm available for questions if you have any. Thank
All
you.
right, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing.
I do not have any speakers. Did anyone wish to speak on this item? No, and there are no hands raised online.
All right, then I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And any questions? I'll entertain a motion then. So moved. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passed unanimously. And so now I'm going to adjourn the Housing Authority and reconvene the meeting of the council. Madam Clerk, the consent calendar notice, please.
Yes, all matters listed on the consent calendar are to be approved with one motion unless a member of the city council or the public requests that separate action be taken on a specific item. And I do not have any speakers for the consent calendar.
All right. Anything from the council as far as moving out of the consent calendar to speak about? Okay, I'll entertain a motion then to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, second, all in favor? Aye. Aye, okay. And so now we're going to turn to public hearings. Item 17, please.
Yes, public hearing and resolution 2024-80 of the City Council of the City of Fairfield discontinuing the reduced fare taxi service program. And our presenter is Sean Vigil, Transit Operations Manager.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Sean Vigil, Operations Manager for the city's transit system FAST. Oh, sorry. So tonight we'll be holding a public hearing to discontinue the reduced taxi fare program. So this program began in 2015 and provides a 50% subsidy to eligible residents 60 years or older or those that also qualify for paratransit services. After the trips are taken, the city reimburses the taxi providers for the script that they purchased, and the program moves about approximately 50 residents per month and at a cost of $230,000 per year to the Transit Enterprise Fund. Back in September 2022, the City Council approved FAST comprehensive operational analysis, which recommended that FAST discontinue that program and use those savings to put towards its new microtransit service, Fast Connect. And since that program was implemented in 2015, new programs have been initiated that provide similar transportation options for residents, such as the First Last Mile program, Guaranteed Ride Home program, Solano Older Adults Medical Trip Concierge Service, and the Solano County Intercity Taxi program, and as I mentioned, our Fast Connect ADA and microtransit services. And staff would continue to work with residents to educate them on these alternative programs. And that's kind of all I have. So not sure if there's any questions we have about discontinuing.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. And we have,
No, I don't have any speaker cards or hands raised online.
and nobody here wants to speak on this. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any questions about that? Yes, Councilman Panduro.
Thank you for the presentation, Sean. A question around educating, so the individuals that were writing the, now having to transition to this new system, can you explain a little bit about how you're planning to educate them to make sure that they are aware of this new system?
Well, so we're going to send letters out to all the people that are registered with the program, and providing them information about other programs, as well as directing them to our website, as well as directing them, to call us, and we can educate them either through, like I said, our website, or we have physical information, as well as over the phone to how to use these alternative programs, as well as directing them to Solano Mobility, which administers a lot of these programs as well.
Councilman Tonneson.
Thank you, John. Yeah, kind of just to follow up on Councilmember Panduro. So we have all of their contact information, correct?
Yes.
So we can send them emails if we have their emails, or we can.
Yeah, we're gonna actually mail out, physical letters to each individual that's currently registered.
And then can you explain to me where they're riding? It's a taxi voucher program. Is it?
There
literally-
isn't.
What is the vehicle, the mode of transportation?
They're taxis. There's two taxi companies that we contract with, and so they're just regular taxi cabs that take them.
And can we have flyer, if you guys know if there's only 50 or so of them, if you know who they are, can we have the taxi drivers give them a voucher that says, here's how you get all the contact information?
I could look into that.
Just a question.
Yeah. The thing too is the taxi companies, that a lot of the users haven't been very satisfied with them. They're hard to get a hold of, or they don't show up. They have a driver shortage because, the taxi industry's been kind of in a spiral since Uber and Lyft. Like yesterday, we actually had a user, he came in and wanted to return his taxi script because he basically could not get a cab, and it's been so difficult for them. So I don't quite trust giving flyers to the drivers to hand out, but we will do everything we can to reach out to them. And also, they'll have till June 7th to still come by taxi script, and at that moment, we'll hand them information on how long they could use it for, and also as the alternatives.
And do they call the taxi company directly? Is that?
Yes.
Oh, so when we use these other modes of transportation, they'll be contacting the city, or?
It depends which program you're using. Like, say if you're going to use our Fast Connect microtransit service, there's an app you could use, or you can call our dispatch. I'm not super familiar, but I think a lot of times for these other ones, if it's like GoGo Grandparent, I think you'll use like a Lyft app, or they call a certain number to book a ride.
Okay, sounds like you guys got it handled. Thank you. Good presentation.
Thank you.
Councilman Williams.
I think we all have the same concerns. We're talking about 60-year-olds and older. And we're only talking about 50 residents, so, uh-oh, did I cut somebody off?
Girl.
Yeah. Didn't mean it in a disparaging way. I'm 54. I say it all the time. All I'm saying is, not everybody receives information the same way. And all I'm saying is 50 residents. Can we just be proactive and call each of these residents? It's just 50 of them. I don't even think it'll be 4 or 5 hours of staff time to just proactively call these people and make sure they have resources, make sure they know an email has gotten to them, hasn't hit spam. Can we have some extra customer service?
Yeah, of course. Anytime we discontinue a service like this, we are definitely going to do everything to make sure we reach everybody's aware, because we don't want any surprises.
Everybody. Come again, Sonny. Yeah. I just want to say that the number, Solano Mobility, you don't have to have an app, you can call just Solano Mobility, and they have all of those things, and they are so good down there about helping anybody, like us old folks, and young folks like you who might want to ride somewhere, you know what I mean? But no, they're excellent. They're excellent down at the Solano Transportation Authority, so thank you for that. Any other questions or comments, colleagues? If not, I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and, so moved? A second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous. All righty then, thank you. We'll move on to item 18, please.
Public hearing and resolution 2024-81 of the City Council of the City of Fairfield authorizing the city manager to execute a power purchase agreement with Onyx Development Group LLC for the provision and operation of a solar field at the Waterman Water Treatment Plant. And our presenter is Michael Heather, Assistant Public Works Director of Utilities.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Moy, Fairfield Council members. Michael Heather, Assistant Public Works Director with the city's Utilities Division. This item before you tonight would authorize the approval of a power purchase agreement for a design-build project delivery method. The purpose of this project is to provide a means for the city's utility to defray power costs. The city's utility is among some of the largest power users, and as I see it, it is my duty to the ratepayers to do everything we can to reduce operating expenses and defray our operating costs. So what we're doing at the Waterman Treatment Plant is simply what those before me have embarked upon, is we already have an operational solar field at the North Bay Water Treatment Plant. So I don't have anything beyond what's in the written report, but what I'm going to bring up, I have a just-in-case slide because I do feel like a picture is, if you can see it, so I'll bring that up. So this is one view, and then this is more of a closer view of the solar array. Sorry, let me get into the presentation mode. Thank you. So as we've embarked upon the advancement and development of this project, we've engaged in a couple of different forms. We've direct and indirect noticing. First, we've provided the government standard legal minimum notification. Quite frankly, I don't really see folks going into the classified ads of the Daily Republic to see that, so that is the minimum. But second, we informed our neighbors to the north, the Rancho Solano HOA, as a form of indirect notification. We worked with their HOA. We then conducted a visit with our neighbors to the north directly, going from house to house. And then we also hung door hangers on certain select parcels. The way I identify that is we took a look at the hillside to the north along St. Andrews, which is located right about here. And then I struck a boundary at just along all the properties along the southern parcel. Our parcel acreage is about 55 to 60 acres. So we did door hangers along the adjacent, just below the canal. And then the other indirect form of notification is just through news and getting the word out to other news outlets through our mod team.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right.
Take any questions.
Just a real quick question. How much land will the actual solar units take up? How much?
A little less than 6 acres. It's like 5 and some change.
5 and, okay.
Yeah. So what I'll do is go to the array. So the array is at the northern end of the city's property.
Mm-hmm.
And what's sandwiched in between the city's property is the Smith Ranch, where the cattle grazing occurs up at HOA.
Yes.
And then Rancho Solano HOA actually owns the parcel immediately behind the houses on Salichon Court.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead then and open the public hearing.
I do have one speaker, Tim Dowling.
We speak here. I'm not as organized as I'd like to be about this topic because I just found out about it this morning on the Sacramento News. And I've lived in my house for 40 years. It has a direct view of this site. It looks directly at the hill that these panels are proposed to go on. Here's a couple pictures. One of them is off my deck, and one is out my kitchen window.
Thank you.
And you can see the hillside directly behind, where the
Yes.
solar panels are prominently going to go high up on the hill in the present version that they've shown. So there was absolutely no notice, no review of residents' concerns with residents other than what he's described earlier. In previous expansions of the water plant, there's always been letters to the House and hearings and input from the public. And that result, so I've been through this for 40 years, and they made significant changes to the water plant initially as a consequence of our comments. And when they did the expansion and put a new system in, they made changes too and did a lot of tree planting that was going to shroud it. None of that has happened on this project to my knowledge. This particular design is spectacularly ugly, and it's a blight on the landscape, a huge impact on property values for homeowners with no notice. For 40 years, I've been looking at that hill, and suddenly you're putting something like a 4-story building. It's practically as big what they're proposing as the city building across the walkway here. I'm confident that there are legal options that could be pursued on this. At the time Rancho Solano was first proposed, there were extensive discussions about preserving a greenbelt around that development. A number of open space groups were involved, and including me, and I am confident they would see this as a breach of those agreements. One of the major assets the city touts is the beauty of the hills around the city and the need to keep them in their natural state. This proposal totally ignores that precedent. The city owns a hill north of Hillborn Road, west of Highway 80, that has a water tank on it. If it was proposed to put solar panels on that hill, there would be a public outcry. This view is just as important. It is very visible from Rancho Solano, some of the most expensive homes in this town. My house is worth in the range of $900,000 to $1 million. And my neighbors sold their home, or bought their home several years ago for $1 million. There are at least 5 homes in Rancho impacted as well. You are impacting the value of many homes with no discussion at all. I would ask you to vote no on this proposal and task the city with locating a better site. And as an example on this hillside, if you look at this, there's the hill right in front of the solar panel above the water plant that would be as obvious a spot to put these panels. It's more sloped, which was a comment that one of the city people made. But putting this up on that hill, if you look at that picture, it really makes a big impact. It's going to be seen by all the homes that he was showing in Rancho Solano when they're out on their deck. It's going to look like a huge building out there. And it's shiny black. It's, you know, and you look at that picture, it's green, and it's going to be brown, but it's never going to be black. So I really.
Thank you, Mr. Dowling. Your time is up. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
And I apologize that I couldn't get back with you today. I was in jury duty.
No, Mr.
So-
Gasaway called me, so I appreciate that.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Any other speakers?
No.
No other speakers? I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and then Councilman Doug, did you have something you?
No, not at this time.
No?
I did speak to Mr. Dowling today, too. He gave me a call. I spoke to him on the phone about his concerns.
Anybody else? Okay, I have another question, Michael. So on the cost recovery of this, so say overall that it's a benefit financially for the city, does that take into account the cost of the solar panels themselves? Yes?
Yes, there's no capital outlay under this arrangement. It's called the power purchase agreement.
Yeah.
So the solar operators will be doing design, build, and construct. So one reason we haven't engaged, when they did the plant expansion, they did a design, bid, build. They had a design, you engage the residents. We don't have anything in place yet. Not until your approval. So once the design, build contract is approved, then we would engage with further notification. We have, as far as next steps with
Yes.
Notice of exemptions, we haven't done that yet because we haven't taken this step. So we've had a biologist kind of go up and look at the site, take a look at where some of the off-limits areas on the hill are, and then we would do the 500-foot or 1,000-foot radius notification. It's part of the CEQA guidelines.
CEQA, and so you would be coming back to the council?
No,
No?
if you're what you're approving as far as the power purchase agreement,
Yes.
you would be approving and authorizing us to move forward with the project. Now, as far as additional notifications that would happen, we haven't done the CEQA notification because we don't have this. We haven't taken this step yet, so we do have to have that.
So there will be the CEQA notifications, but this will be it as far as us, right?
This would be, yep.
Yes.
I got a question. I'm just curious on the picture there, why isn't the spot of land east of there on this side of the road, why isn't that considered, that area over here, down
Yeah.
below?
We did. We looked at about 3 or 4 different locations. So part of the challenge with solar is you want south-facing, ideally, south or west-facing. Some of the contours and some of the hills is just too steep. We looked at immediately east of the main portion of the plant, and then we looked a little bit south as well to kind of nestle the panels into the hill. So what we came up with from the technical data was that you get the most optimization with the acreage. This acreage here is similar to what we have at North Bay Regional as well, and is visible to the entire neighborhood up there.
Councilman Tonneson?
So, there's no zoning that we have to follow. There's no, that's not like any land use approval that you'd have to get up there, but I'm assuming. But it seems like we're going to approve this and then ask for input. Is it me, or does that sound a little backwards?
It does.
Go ahead, David.
No, well, you put yeah, that's correct. I mean, the placement of the solar array is based on, you're trying to technically optimize your payback. So when all the different locations we looked at about 3 different locations. They took solar data, they plugged it into a financial model, and then that, over the life of a contract. So you try to maximize what you can, over the life of the contract, what you get back in savings.
No, I understand that part, and I'm fine with solar. It seemed that, wouldn't you go out and get the residents' input initially, or do we approve it first and then go get their input? Because
in this particular case, as Michael indicated, it's a design bid contract. And so we're not going out to do design work with one firm and then taking that and bidding that then for installation. It's one firm that specializes in doing solar installations that's going to design it and then do the work. And so there's been one bid process. I think what I'm hearing from council right now is you would like some understanding of what the visual impacts might be. And I believe that's where the CEQA process comes into play. But before we get to that point, I think if there's interest of the council of taking a separate look at this, because this one individual and maybe others, I know Mr. Dowling's the only one that's come tonight, but one individual that is expressing concern, we could do that. Wouldn't be preferred, because I assume that as we've already bid this, project with the PPA, there's timing issues, and I don't know if that impacts the NIM too.
It does. There's tariff deadlines that we're working up against with the state. Those aren't city imposed. The state has said you shall have your solar field, all solar field operational, shall be operational, I think, April 2026. And that's not just specific to this project, that's anybody who's under the NEM 2 tariff. The other aspect that we're working on, which is a separate but connected project, is we're getting ready to, we have been working on a different capital project we call the High Lift. A lot of the switch gear and the electrical equipment there is old. So that project we've been working on for a couple of years with PG&E to get the industrial power design, getting new transformers put in. So when we run everything into the building, we want to take into consideration all the duct banks and what has to be cut into the building along with the solar pin. So we've been marching the two projects in conjunction with one another from a technical perspective.
I understand that, and I'm not opposed to solar. Just it does seem like not a lot of people knew, but you guys have vetted it all out, so I trust you.
No,
I got one.
Councilwoman Williams first, please.
I think my questions have been answered. And I think, David, you nailed it. It's the visual impact that is concerning me. Did you see the picture that was floating around the dais of that view from this gentleman's?
I did not.
Because that definitely gives a completely different viewpoint than looking at it from a, I guess this is called bird's eye view. But yeah, that nailed it. It's the visual impact, and if that is part of the consideration when you're looking, and I guess my other point is, looking at this bird's eye view. Am I calling it the right thing? Bird's eye? Okay. Looking at it here, I mean, it just looks, you can't tell how big it is. Is it big as a building? What color is it? I mean, you just can't, is this as small of a footprint as it can be? I know you have a 2-year, I think I heard you say you have a 2-year deadline, but, designs change. I mean, I feel like I've seen some solar footprints that look one way, and then a few years later, they look a little different. So those are all thoughts that are swirling in my head.
Yeah, we have walked down, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And is there been any other people who have opposed this project other than Mr. Dowd?
Yes, we did some direct notification with some of the folks off of Salashon Court. There was one individual at the end of the cul-de-sac, and he told me verbally he was going to come down. I shared the same information. I invited him to come down and say, please, voice your opinion. But after I explained where we were, I don't think he understood where the fence line was. Some of the things that we've done in looking at the property from a different perspective, going up to St. Andrews, and then also from this perspective is we've looked at putting some more trees along the fence line. So one of the things we're going to consider is having an arborist, select some native trees. We'd have to run some irrigation, but I think that's a reasonable request.
But to answer my question, was there neighborhood disagreement other than one person?
Admittedly, of the folks that did call, there was two.
Two?
Yep,
total?
two. There was Mr. Dowling and then another gentleman up on Salashon Court.
So 2 people are opposed that you know of so far?
Yes, of what we did direct
Okay, thank you.
notification. Yeah.
And again, I took some notes when you were talking. You spoke to the HOA, the HOA up there.
Yes, we engaged Priscilla with the property manager up at the HOA. We informed her that we were going to, of our intent, and then we also said we'll engage. What really started was just the Salashon Court residents.
Yes.
But then when we stood up on St. Andrews, we thought, well, maybe we should do some door hangers along the Puta South Canal. Those properties had kind of evolved in that. And then we did the, just kind of the press release
Right.
through the different channels, which as a form of notification.
So the house to house, that's when you did the door hangers, or two separate things?
We did the door hangers last week.
Last week?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, I will admit, we had to draw a line somewhere. We did the parcels along the canal, along the southern frontage of our property.
Yes.
I think Mr. Dowling is maybe off of Lomita Court. He's 1 or 2 parcels just beyond. So when I talked to him today, I shared the door hanger and some other information that you've seen.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, colleagues? I'll entertain a motion if you want to do that, or whatever you want to do.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So is it too late to actually have some community engagement on this? I mean, this is a real issue that is going to, impact the views of some of the homes and stuff. And I mean, I just feel like, and that's going to be permanent forever and a day.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, I'm wondering if there is time to do some public outreach and engagement and actually talk to people, you know, in some kind of a meeting style or something like that to, you know, to help try to get their views. And this is their property value, and I completely sympathize with that.
Yes.
I sympathize with that. You know, it happened to us when I was growing up in Oakland. Somebody put a big thing in front of some houses and it blocked the view of Lake Merritt and blah, blah. I mean, it's a real impact. So I don't know if the timeline would permit something like that, if we think that might be advisable.
I think that we'll get the temperature of the council. I think that they're going to engage with them. It sounds like the city put out a lot of flyers. I would make a motion to approve, and then we'll, down the road, I'm sure we're gonna have more conversations. That would be my motion.
But the flyers were let out a week ago. So a lot of people are busy and they couldn't necessarily schedule to come to this hearing. And they may not have even seen that card. In the past, we've gotten letters, and a legal letter to the House. And that was all passed over this time. And I really think you're just setting yourselves up for a lot of problems. And if this goes on and they start building this, and there's a lot of resentment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dowling. Thank you. I don't mean to be rude at all, it just, we have 3 minutes to speak, and so thank you.
As far as the timeline, because I think there's an open question, at least on the table here, as far as the timeline. If there wasn't a state tariff deadline, then I would say, yeah, I would advise that. Some of the technical aspects, so for instance, one of the items approved tonight was regarding a switchboard. When you order those electrical components, especially custom-made stuff, you're talking about 60 to 90 weeks, the lead times. So when you ask, is there time? Yes, save for the state tariff deadline, there would be time. But in the case of as you march toward to try to meet the deadlines of the state under the NEM 2 tariff, when we looked at the NEM 3, it doesn't pencil out.
Yeah, and I'll add a little context to that. So last year, the Public Utilities Commission approved a modification with PG&E of the net energy metering program. And that's basically the tariff rate, which PG&E then will pay us back for the electricity that this solar array generates. So because of that timing, because of the change in that program, there's a timing when the NEM 2 program runs out, and that was what month in 26?
April 2026.
April of 2026. And so I think all things being equal, you know, staff's in agreement. More time, we'd love more engagement. This was one that if we don't do this, then a solar project within the next 2 years is probably infeasible, and past that point, under the net energy metering 3.0 program, it will not make sense in order to offset costs the way that it does under the NEM 2 program.
I don't know what you just said, but
You're going to get a better rate out of the electricity that these panels produce if you install it by 2026.
there you go.
And you're also saying that another 2 2 weeks, 1 month, is going to put us in danger of missing the window.
Yes, the time ticks from the standpoint of when I sit in meetings with the technical people, from the standpoint of our high lift design and the solar folks, I feel like I'm in a Caltrans meeting. There's like 26 people in there, each with their specialty on like who does what to try to advance the cause on both projects. I think it only makes sense as we're looking at the high lift to have a solar array that allows us to defray our energy costs, just like we do at North Bay Regional.
I just have a question around the flyers. What's the typical process for when those go out? Is it normally just a week before the public hearing, or what does that normally look like?
I would say
How does that, how do you decipher like when those go out?
we tried to gauge as close, there's no legal requirement to actually put those flyers out. The legal minimum is the government standard legal ad in the Daily Republic that's set by the state. We did that. You have to post that notice of the public hearing, and it's like 14 days in advance of this. So then notification, anything we do above and beyond that is at our discretion. I mean, we didn't have to notify beyond the government code legal notice.
2 weeks. And Madam Mayor, if I may?
Yes, please.
Just to follow up on what Mr. Heather said, just in case there's if this helps the council with this decision, I know that a lot of the council members are familiar with zoning decisions, home remodels, development plans. And Mr. Heather's correct. This provision or contract is governed under Government Code 4217.12, which talks about a public agency entering into an energy service contract and any necessary related facility ground lease on terms that the governing body determines are in the best interest of the public agency. The only notice requirement under this code is that the decision be made at a regularly scheduled public hearing, public notice of which is given at least 2 weeks in advance, and if the governing body makes certain findings which are in your resolution. So I know that there may be some questions about notice, and it's, of course, up to this body to determine if they want to give more notice to the public. That's certainly within your right. But I just want to make sure if people are thinking that this was a development project or a home project that requires some sort of community notice, let's say to everyone within 100 feet, that is not required under the code. But again, you can ask for more notice that's within your purview.
And do you want, I'd have to reopen the public hearing, and I can. Do you want to speak? No. Yes, I'm going to reopen the public hearing.
I just have one question.
Sure, come on up.
I actually don't have a dog in this fight. I don't live in this neighborhood, but I have a question.
Up here.
Can you speak in the mic, please?
Hi.
Thank you.
My name is Kelly.
Hi,
I just have a
Kelly.
question, just watching this all come about tonight. Could you explain to everyone exactly how much money this is? If I'm understanding this is going to save the city a lot of money?
Ratepayers, yeah.
Yeah, so could you explain how much money annually and for how many years? And then I understand the rate gets locked in if this decision is made very quickly. How long is that rate locked in? And at what point is that agreement no longer valid? And so then what is the recovery period after that? I think that would be interesting to understand. Thanks.
Thank you. We have all that information in the packet, but you can go ahead, Michael.
Sure, $10.5 million over the life of the contract. So
$10.5 million. Mhm.
So that's a 25-year contract, $10.5 million over 25 years, $420,000 per year in savings to municipal ratepayers.
It's a lot of money.
And
Yes.
John wanted to speak too. Takeuchi.
Excuse me, I wasn't going to say anything because I live 3 houses down from the Waterman Treatment Plant entrance on Vista Grande. And I looked at the map and I said, I'm not going to see those panels. See, so I thought, well, I'll just listen to what the specs are. But after the one speaker this thing needs to be a public discussion. The people in Castle Rock are going to look at that thing too, if you look at the layout of the place. So there's a lot of folks that are going to be affected by this. And, I think 1 week's notice, like he says, there's a lot of folks that don't even know about it yet, see? So I think you ought to postpone this thing, William says here, what's a week or 2 weeks or a month going to do? It ain't going to stop anything. See? Anyway, and also the question, is an EIR required? I would think an EIR is required for something like this.
No, the EIR is not required. We are conducting a biological assessment of the property, and what that's going to end up with is we are exempt. Now, there are things we need to do as part of, there's some biological resources, and there's a creek along the western side. I mean, those are no-go zones, so we have to stay away from those, but our biologists that we've engaged has told us that already. The folks to the east, Castle Rock, the reservoir, there's a 10 million gallon reservoir at the end of the road there. So as you head up towards the reservoir, it's not clear on here, there's no contours. So you're actually heading uphill when you head up towards the reservoir.
One of the requirements of an EIR is public input. And I think that's missing.
Well, thank you, Mr. Takeuchi. Oh, sure, come on down. I need you guys to fill in cards too, please.
We'll do that, thank you,
If you
Mayor
say
Moy.
your name, I can fill out the card.
Sure, it's Beth Kolakowski, Kolakakoski. And good evening, and thank you. I didn't know that this was happening. I do live in Rancho Solano, and I had no idea. Our board, our HOA, has not brought us this information. So I would like the board and the council to consider giving the residents time to consider what this will do to the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'm going to close the public hearing again. Okay, I'm going to suggest a substitute there. I would like to agendize for our first meeting in May to have the public hearing again. And so that's, would be our next regular meeting. And
So, Madam Mayor, if I could suggest, if that's your desire, you could just make a motion to continue this hearing.
all right. Well, I'll replace, or go ahead,
So,
Councilman Johnson.
If that's the council's purview, I can withdraw my motion, but we can still do engagement during design, correct?
That is true. And one of the things we've been looking at is, trees, additional trees, to the extent it doesn't impose and block any of the solar panels along the property line.
Councilman Carr?
And a month, it'll make our time tighter, but everything is still possible with the month's delay,
It's only a few weeks.
a few weeks, a month at the most.
We'll have it back here. You actually noticed legally 2 weeks ago, right, or 10 days?
That's right. The government code.
It
yes.
wasn't 1 week that we're talking about, it's 2 weeks. And we just did the extra stuff in the last week. So this will be a whole month and a week away if we do this again. And then hopefully the HOA will tell people, if that's what you want. I mean, it's up to you all.
I just want to make sure that timeline, that the needs of the many always outneed the ways of the few in the way I look at things. And I just want to make sure that a delay, 1 month delay or something isn't going to scrap the whole thing.
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks.
Okay. So if we can make design changes during the process, and is the council saying that they didn't get enough time, or that we want to not do this project? Because it resonates to me, the savings to the ratepayers. So if there's design things that we can institute that'll help, then maybe if we get to that point. But I saw, or I heard 10.5 million, and I don't think that. I just take the temperature of the council and just see, because if the design can be adjusted, then.
Can't have you speak again, I'm sorry.
Can't you open up the
No, you've
public
already
input?
spoken.
Oh, each person only gets 3 minutes?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm an engineer, and I can tell you that a month on a 2-year project is nothing.
Okay, thank you.
They can fill that in readily.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask the same question Doug asked. So if it did come back on May 7th, can we still do it? That's the real question here.
Yeah.
I say every month that passes when it comes to the tariff deadline, we do put ourselves at risk of making the deadline. If say for that tariff, I think absolutely. Why not? There's no backstop. There's nothing forcing us to be done and have the solar field operational.
Okay. All right. That's the answer I was looking for.
Then Mr. City Attorney, do I withdraw my motion?
We can just say there's no second, and that drops off. So that I didn't hear a second to your motion, so somebody can make a competing motion, you'd vote on the competing motion first. And if that passes, then your motion never gets considered. So
I think
I didn't hear anyone.
however it's supposed to work.
Councilman Panduro?
No, I'm asking if you had the competing motion.
I'll make a motion to, did you say continue it, sir, until?
May 7th.
May 7th. And, the public hearing will reopen it at that time.
But are we going to do another mailer? Are we going to, hit some?
Yeah, so
Public outreach.
we can do more public outreach. I'm going to be honest with you in terms of if you're wanting a substantive public outreach and public engagement process, that's not possible in 2 weeks. Because by the time we got a notice out, people received it, and you actually have a meeting scheduled to have the discussion, you're basically at May 7th again. So if that's what you want to do, we will do our best. And at that next public hearing, I suspect that we will have more folks here to speak about this topic, which is their due right, and that's appropriate. But that's not exactly my definition of public engagement from a design perspective. What I'm not hearing from council tonight is I'm not hearing any debate over the merits of the cost savings to the ratepayers that the project has, rather the visual, the view shed impacts that it could have on various homeowners. That ends up being a design issue that I can tell you by May 7th, we're not going to resolve any more than we have tonight.
And I made that point. I heard 10.5 million.
You did.
And there was no second to my motion. Does the motion die? Or was there a second?
So currently, we have 2 motions, neither with a second. So we have a motion to pass, no one seconded. We have a competing motion to continue. Anybody can...
I'll second the mayor's motion.
Okay.
To continue the public hearing.
So you have a motion and a second.
All right. And so we'll vote on that motion in a second then now. All in favor?
We better do roll.
We're going to do a roll call on this, please.
Okay.
They told me to do a roll
Councilmember Carr?
Aye.
Councilmember Panduro? And this is on the mayor's motion to continue it. Okay. Councilmember Tonneson?
Aye.
Councilmember Vaccaro? Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bertani?
Yes.
And Mayor Moy?
Yes, that's unanimous. It'll be continued. Now, we haven't given any direction. I think that we go back to the HOA, and I think they should be handling some of this.
That was my expectation. We inform the property manager who engages with the HOA. So I tell the property manager, I assume that they do some kind of notice or mailer at large. We engage the folks directly to the north just by going and knocking on the door.
Right. Okay. And just one last question, if you don't mind, Michael. How many homes will see that? Do you have any idea?
Well, it depends on where, so when I took a look at, and I actually went out to someone's backyard
Yeah.
up on St. Andrews.
Okay.
What I thought they could see was actually blocked by trees around the creek.
Okay.
And the residents, who I know personally, they let us go into their backyard, and we thought we would be able to see the entirety of it, and we couldn't. Now, are there folks who will be? I would say yes. I don't have a number for you. There will be, glimpses of the solar field.
Sure.
But I would say to that, there are dozens and dozens of residents at North Bay Regional who overlook the solar field, and
You don't have any complaints?
I haven't fielded any. I'm sure there were before my time. But
Okay. All right, well,
I think a lot of the complaints will die down once they see, it's $10 million in savings, so I think that,
450 a year, right?
yeah,
Is
it's
that
quite
right?
a big savings, so
A little less.
I think giving them the 3 weeks, we'll see what happens.
Oh, all righty. So we're going to move on now.
Okay, item 19, public hearing and resolution 2024-82 of the City Council of the City of Fairfield annexing territory, Taco Bell, to Community Facilities District Number 2012-2, Public Safety Services, Open Space Operation, and Park Maintenance as annexation number 67, authorizing the levy of a special tax within the annexed territory and submitting the levy of a special tax to the qualified electors thereof, and Resolution 2024-83 of the City Council of the City of Fairfield declaring the results of a special annexation election in territory annexed to Community Facilities District Number 2012-2, Public Safety Services, Open Space Operation, and Park Maintenance, determining the validity of prior proceedings, and directing recording of amended notice of special tax lien for City of Fairfield Community Facilities District Number 2012-2, Public Safety Services, Open Space Operation, and Park Maintenance, annexation number 67, Taco Bell. And our presenter is Valerie Stanfield, Public Works Management Analyst.
Hi, Valerie.
Good evening. Well, let me start over. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Before you tonight is annexation number 67 for CFD 2012-2, which funds citywide public safety services, open space operation, and park maintenance. The property being considered for annexation will be a Taco Bell restaurant. City Council initiated the annexation process for this territory on March 5th with the adoption of resolution number 2024-49. By conducting a public hearing, carrying out the ballot procedure, and adopting the proposed resolutions before you, Council will complete the annexation process and the territory will be added to the district. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I am going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Any public speakers, Madam Clerk?
No, and there are no hands raised online.
Does anybody here want to speak to item 19? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing, and it's back with us, colleagues. I'll entertain a motion, or if anybody has any comments.
And the motion will be to approve Resolution 2024-82, because then I have to open the ballot.
Right. So moved? And I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
That was
now-
unanimous.
Now I'll open the ballot.
All right.
And there are 2 yes votes in favor of annexation.
All right.
So now we need a vote on resolution.
Yes. Ooh, that was a big vote. Okay, make a motion. I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve.
And we need a second.
Second that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that was unanimous, and I thank you all very much. And we'll see you back here on May 7th, and this meeting is adjourned.